My name is Emily, and this is the story of how my seemingly perfect life unraveled into a web of lies and betrayal. At 35 years old, I had finally achieved stability after years of struggle. Divorced but hopeful, I had built a life for myself, one I thought was secure. 3 years ago, I met Ryan. Charming, successful, and seemingly everything I had been looking for. It felt like fate. But as I would come to learn, fate has a cruel sense of humor. Ryan and I met at a mutual friend's party. He had a way of making you feel like you were the only person in the room. Before I knew it, we were dating, and within a year, we were married. My friends often commented on how happy I seemed, and at first, I truly was. Ryan was attentive, always ready with a thoughtful gesture or a kind word. He encouraged me to keep my job as a graphic designer, a choice that felt empowering after my first marriage, where I'd given up my career to be a stay-at-home wife. I thought I had finally found a partner who respected me for who I was. The first 6 months of our marriage were blissful. We divided responsibilities, shared dreams of traveling, and even talked about starting a family. But as time went on, the cracks began to show. Ryan became distant, often coming home late from work without explanation. His excuses were vague: meetings or last-minute client requests. At first, I believed him. After all, he had always been hardworking. But a gnawing doubt began to grow within me. One evening, as I was cleaning up after dinner, Ryan's phone buzzed on the counter. A text message preview flashed on the screen. "Can't wait to see you tomorrow, Heart." My heart stopped. I'd never seen this number before. I debated for a moment before deciding to confront him directly. "Ryan, who's texting you?" I asked, holding up his phone. His face paled, and he quickly grabbed it from me. "Just a colleague," he said, too quickly, his tone defensive. "It's nothing." I wanted to believe him, but something about his reaction felt off. That night, I couldn't sleep. My mind replayed the scene over and over. Was I overreacting, or was my intuition trying to tell me something? The following weeks were a blur of suspicion and self-doubt. Ryan's behavior grew increasingly erratic. He would leave the room to take phone calls, his explanations for late nights became more convoluted, and there were moments when he seemed almost relieved when I had plans that kept me out of the house. I tried to dismiss my fears, but the tension between us was palpable. Then came the trip. My company had offered me an opportunity to attend a month-long design workshop overseas. Ryan encouraged me to go, insisting it would be good for my career. I hesitated, worried about leaving him during such a turbulent time in our relationship, but he assured me everything would be fine. "We'll use this time to miss each other," he said with a smile that didn't quite reach his eyes. Reluctantly, I agreed. The workshop was in Paris, a dream destination for any designer, but my excitement was overshadowed by a lingering unease. I threw myself into the program, hoping the distance would provide clarity. But late at night, in my hotel room, I couldn't shake the feeling that something was wrong. Midway through the workshop, I received an email from my neighbor, Mrs. Carter. She was an elderly woman who lived across the hall and often kept an eye on our apartment when we were away. Her message was short but alarming. "Emily, I've noticed some unfamiliar people coming in and out of your apartment lately. Thought you should know." Panic set in. Who could it be? I called Ryan, but he didn't answer. I tried again. Still no response. Frustrated and worried, I emailed Mrs. Carter back, asking for more details. She replied with a description of a woman and a young boy who had been staying there regularly. My heart sank. Could Ryan be hiding something? Or someone? When I returned home a week earlier than planned, I found the apartment in disarray. There were toys scattered on the living room floor, toys I had never seen before. In the kitchen, a child's drawing was stuck to the refrigerator with a magnet. "Welcome home, Mommy," it read. My head spun. Ryan's voice broke the silence. "Emily, you're back early." I turned to see him standing in the doorway, his face a mix of surprise and guilt. Behind him was a woman I didn't recognize, holding the hand of a little boy who looked no older than 5. "Who are they?" I demanded, my voice shaking. The woman stepped forward. "I'm Rachel," she said, her tone calm but firm. "Ryan's friend." My stomach dropped. Ryan began to stammer, trying to explain, but his words were a jumble of half-truths and contradictions. It became clear that Rachel and her son, Ethan, had been living in my apartment while I was away. Ryan had told her that our marriage was on the rocks and that I had agreed to move out. Furious and heartbroken, I ordered them all to leave. "This is my home," I said, barely holding back tears. "You have no right to be here." Ryan tried to reason with me, but I was beyond listening. I felt betrayed in every possible way. Over the next few days, I pieced together the truth. Ryan had been seeing Rachel for over a year. He had promised her a future, using my apartment as the backdrop for his lies. When I confronted him, he begged for forgiveness. "I made a mistake," he said, tears streaming down his face. "I was scared of losing you, but I didn't know how to fix things." I wanted to believe him, to hold on to the life we had built together, but the damage was done. Trust, once broken, is almost impossible to repair. I filed for divorce and began the painful process of rebuilding my life. Ryan moved out, and I changed the locks, determined to protect the sanctuary I had once called home. Months passed, and I threw myself into work, using my creativity as an outlet for my pain. But the experience left me wary of love, hesitant to let anyone close again. I often thought about Rachel and Ethan, wondering if they had been just as deceived as I had. The questions lingered, unanswered, as I focused on moving forward. One day, I received a package in the mail. Inside was a handwritten letter from Rachel. She apologized for her role in the betrayal, explaining that she, too, had been lied to. "I never meant to hurt you," she wrote. "Ryan told me you were gone for good. I believed him because I wanted to. I'm sorry for the pain I caused." Her words brought a strange sense of closure. While I couldn't forgive Ryan, I found it in my heart to let go of my anger toward Rachel. She had been a victim of his deceit, just as I had. Rachel's letter became a turning point for me. I started seeing a therapist to unpack the layers of betrayal and doubt that had taken root in my mind. Each session was a step forward, a chance to rebuild my self-esteem and learn to trust my instincts again. I discovered that healing isn't a straight path, but a series of small victories. Slowly but surely, I began to feel like myself again. 6 months after the divorce, I decided to move to a new city. It wasn't just about leaving behind the memories of Ryan. It was about creating a fresh start. I found a quaint apartment in a bustling neighborhood filled with cafes and parks that felt alive with possibility. Decorating my new space became a therapeutic project. I chose vibrant colors, cozy furniture, and artwork that reflected my journey of resilience. One evening, while unpacking a box of books, I came across an old photo album from my childhood. Flipping through the pages, I was reminded of the strong, independent girl I used to be. Somewhere along the way, I had lost touch with her, but now I was determined to reconnect. I pinned one of the photos, a picture of me on a swing, laughing without a care in the world, to my vision board as a reminder of who I was striving to become. As time went on, I started to meet new people. I joined a book club, took up yoga, and even enrolled in a cooking class. Each activity brought me closer to a sense of community and belonging. Among the new faces was Alex, a chef who taught the cooking class. His warmth and humor were infectious, and for the first time in a long while, I found myself smiling without reservation. Alex and I became friends, bonding over our shared love of food and art. He had a way of making the simplest moments feel extraordinary, whether it was a casual coffee date or an impromptu walk through the city. As our friendship deepened, I felt the walls around my heart begin to crumble. But this time, I was cautious. I had learned the hard way that trust is earned, not given freely. One rainy afternoon, Alex invited me to his restaurant to try a new dish he was working on. As I watched him cook, I realized how different he was from Ryan. Alex's actions matched his words. He was genuine and kind in a way that felt grounding. Over dinner, he shared his own story of heartbreak and healing, and for the first time, I saw the possibility of a future with someone who truly valued me. Eventually, Alex and I began dating. It was a slow, deliberate process, one built on mutual respect and understanding. With him, I felt safe to be vulnerable, to share the parts of myself that I had hidden away. He encouraged me to dream again, to pursue goals I had once deemed impossible. Looking back, my experience with Ryan was a painful chapter, but it taught me invaluable lessons about self-worth and resilience. It reminded me that even in the darkest moments, there is a way forward. Life doesn't always go as planned, but sometimes the detours lead to the most beautiful destinations. Today, I'm in a place I never imagined I'd be. Happy, hopeful, and thriving. My journey wasn't easy, but it was worth every step. And as I sit here writing this, I can't help but smile, knowing that the best